Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Set Lusting Bruce, your podcast all about Bruce Springsteen, his music, and mostly his fans. I am your host, Jesse Jackson. I've got a good one today. I am so honored that Tom Cunningham said, Sure, I'll jump on and visit with you. And Tom, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Tom Cunningham. Thanks for having me.
Yes, a long-time radio profession, probably best known for Springsteen on Sunday. You've
Oh,
said been doing that for 6 years?
yeah, I've been at my current station, 107 on the Boss, for 6 years now.
Yeah,
It was at the previous station for 16. I guess the math ends up correct there. Yes,
yeah.
16. And so I had to change the name. The show was originally the Bruce Brunch
Okay.
on the first station. And
Yeah.
then when I made the move to 107 on the Boss, I had to come up with a new name. And
Okay.
a dear friend of mine who works in the record business in Nashville, the great Mark Lespina. We
Okay.
were kicking around names, and he was like, Springsteen on Sunday. Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're going to get there, but I always like to start at the beginning. So talk about growing up. Where did you grow up? And what kind of music were your family listening to? What did you grow up listening to?
Grew up in Trenton, New Jersey,
Okay.
capital city, the garden spot of the Garden State.
Nice.
And I was a kid in the 60s, which was great. My mother was a diehard AM radio listener. And I had the good fortune to be able to listen to stations from both New York and Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So I was getting great radio. And there was a station in Trenton that was a pop station. My mother loved the morning guy. And so that would be on. But at night, they had a guy who did nothing but soul music.
Oh,
And that really informed a lot of what the music that I came to love and still love to this day. This guy's name was George Luther Bannister, and he was great. And all he played was soul sides. And so there was that. And I would listen to Dan Ingram on WABC, George Michael on WFIL in Philly. And then when progressive rock radio came to the fore on the FM band,
yeah.
I made the move to WMMR in Philadelphia, who went progressive rock in 1968. So I was growing up, the girl next door who was 6 years older. She was a Beatles fanatic.
Yeah.
So in 64, when the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan, it was this major deal to her. So it was a big deal to us, my sister and brother and I. We had Beatlemania from the ground floor, and that really informed a lot of where my musical taste would lie.
Tom, where were you were you oldest, middle, youngest?
In the fine Irish Catholic tradition,
Yes.
we were all a year apart. I
Ah.
was the oldest. My sister was after me. My brother was born 364 days after my sister. Can't beat that.
No.
Uh, yes, I was the big brother.
I grew up, my dad was in the army, so we moved around a lot. And we didn't get the memo. Of course, we weren't Catholic, but I was born in 59, my sister in 64, and my brother in 69. So it was like every 5 years they had a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, I grew up, my parents loved country music from the South. She did love Bobby Darin and Fats Domino and that music, but mostly it was a country and western house. And I did not get to control the radio till I got my AM clock radio. And
There
then
you go.
that I owned that, and that I could control and you put in and did that. So yeah, it's just the there is a lot good about the modern radio and Sirius XM and all these other things, But there was a little beauty of, I remember in like when I went to high school, I graduated in 77, right? AM radio had everything on it from a Ray Stevens to Ohio Players, right? And yeah. Um,
Yeah.
did you know you wanted to work in radio from an early age?
I did, but to me, it was always an untenable, unreachable goal.
Yeah.
You don't say to somebody, yeah, I'm going to be on the radio.
Like
At
dreaming you're
least
going
I,
to play for the Mets or the Yankees, right? It's
yeah,
just, yeah.
yeah. So I never said it out loud, but in the back of my mind, it was always something. I always figured that somehow I would be involved in music
Okay.
by I got to high school in 1970,
Okay.
and by that point, I didn't know the path, but I knew that somehow this music that I love so much would be the way that would somehow remarkably how I would live my life as this rock and roll knucklehead. And you
Did
know
you,
what, man?
yeah.
It friggin' happened. So,
Sometimes dreams do come true.
yeah,
Did you
yeah.
go to college?
Yes, yes.
What'd you major in?
University of Dayton,
Okay.
a great radio department.
Okay.
I actually went there. I said, at least I know I can write, so I will be a journalist for the school paper.
Okay.
Actually, just came across, we had our 50th high school reunion last fall, and
Hmm.
one of the guys that showed up brought these copies of the school newspaper with
Yeah.
these articles that I had written for the high school paper. And I remember everything, and I didn't remember ever writing any of these articles. It was crazy. One was bashing AM radio. One was
Just,
bashing AM radio.
do you remember why you were bashing it?
Oh yeah, of course, because the music sucked and the DJs sucked. They talked over the songs and
Hmm.
all like that. So
How funny.
so I knew I was like, okay, I'll go to the school paper
Yeah.
and start writing music reviews. And I did that. And the school had carrier current radio station, not over
Yeah.
the air,
Hmm.
hardwired into three dorms in the student union, 64 on your AM dial. And
Uh-huh.
so I started there. And the thing about Dayton was, in addition to being a basketball powerhouse, the school owned a 50,000 watt commercial radio station.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, insane. So the goal became to get on there
Okay.
because they hired all students. You had to be good.
Yeah.
And it took a while, but I kept going for it and going for it. And I ended up, I worked at the carrier current station, started there in 75,
Okay.
50 years ago. And December of 76, I got on the air at the big, massive rock station. It was
Do you
incredible.
do you remember the first song you played?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Incident on 57th Street.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is a perfect segue. Though I before I get to Bruce, I'm curious, was your love of music and wanting to do record reviews is what led you to know that you like to write? Was that the gateway to you knowing that you enjoy
Uh,
writing?
I, I always thought of myself as a good writer.
Oh, okay.
I could write.
Okay.
And I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
That was a big part of it. It was
Okay.
something that I could do well
Mm.
and I enjoyed.
Okay.
Yeah. And I like reviewed concerts and albums, and there was a Bob Dylan TV show in 76 or 77, reviewed that, whatever. Yeah.
So, can you remember when you discovered Bruce and what about his music spoke to you?
I can remember like it was yesterday.
Okay.
In 73, I was 16, and the radio station that actually broke Bruce Springsteen was WMMR
Okay.
out of Philadelphia. And that was my station. The late, great Ed Shockey, David Dye, and Michael Tierson, those at that point, I was like, I want to be David Dye. I want to be Ed Shockey. And they started playing Bruce. Bruce was playing the main point, and he was opening for this Travis Shook. That's where he got his start at the main point. And as a favor to the main point, the program director put Greetings from Asbury Park into the. This was freeform radio days. These folks could play whatever they wanted, and it clicked. It worked for the station. The DJs started to see Bruce at the main point, and just took off. And I'm loving this music that I'm hearing. And wait a minute, the guys from New Jersey? Nobody's from New Jersey. New
Right.
Jersey is the butt of bad jokes on Johnny Carson show.
Right.
And so I was blown away by the fact that not only is this guy from New Jersey, but he embraces it. He's got the friggin' Asbury Park postcard on the cover of his record, and it's called Greetings from Asbury Park. And any chance we could, we were at the beach, at the shore. It was a massive part of my life. And the music it just blew my mind.
So, in a lot of ways, you've been there from the beginning, then, haven't you? From the start.
From the recorded work start,
Yeah.
I've since now met a lot of people who will tell me about seeing Steel Mill and
Yeah.
I Saw a Child and I was at the Upstage, which is cool. I love hearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do too. One of the things, Tom, I found is, and I'm going to ask you in a minute about how many times you've seen them live, but almost 100% of the people I talk about have this wish I could have found them earlier. Like my first live show was 2002. I discovered him on the river, but that was my first live show. But I have had people that, similar to you, found him like during that 74, 75, or you a little bit earlier. And just think if I could have seen him when he was doing the colleges. So
Yeah,
it's just something about this guy. We're like, oh man, I wish I could just catch him earlier.
I feel like I was there when I was supposed to be there.
I like,
I wish I had seen a show in '73 with Vinny
mhm.
on drums. I really do. There was no one had thought to invent the internet then. So
Yes.
you're a goofy 16, 17-year-old kid, and you don't know what's
Yeah.
going on 10 miles away at Trenton State College, Princeton University, where Bruce would come and play, and no friggin' clue.
I think the
Um,
same thing. My dad, when he retired from the Army and my mom and him divorced, we settled in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is only 3 hours away from Houston. And as I said, I graduated in 77. So I'm thinking of a 16, 17-year-old Jesse only 3 hours away from seeing Bruce in Houston. But I didn't know. I had no
right.
idea. So I always preface this, Tom, with the amount of times you've seen Bruce perform live is not a fair barometer of how big of a fan you are. But are you someone who counts? Okay.
Although now I have Lucinda Williams, Lake Charles in my head.
Yeah,
So
thank you. I apologize for that, but yes, the great
that's all
Lucinda
I can
Williams, yes.
that's all I can think about right now.
Yeah,
Um,
and up on Cripple Creek, right?
when I include like club shows,
Yeah,
light of day,
yeah.
whatever, it's probably like 350.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about Bruce was from the beginning when you were on the radio. Was there a road to Damascus moment when you decided you wanted to do a Bruce Springsteen themed radio show?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about that.
I was working I had a great job. I left radio full time in the late 80s and opted for a life of crime in the record business.
Okay.
I had a really great job at Reprise Records, part of Warner Brothers, which I loved. So much great music. You're talking about the first Green Day album, first
Mhm.
Alanis Morissette album,
Okay.
Neil Young, Eric Clapton, just like amazing stuff. And they forced me against my will to move to the home office in Los Angeles, which I hated.
Okay.
So I talked to them, and I told them they needed someone in the New York office
Okay.
because we needed an East Coast presence, and they bought it. So they sent me back. We lived in LA, moved our whole family for 364 days. Get back, and I'm going to be working in New York City, Rockefeller Center. And I'm like, we can live anywhere, but let's live at the shore. And that's what we did. I'd commute in and out of the city on the train every day. And how do you not love living at the Jersey Shore?
Yeah.
So we did that. And I would hear one station in New York still on. They have a Beatles show every
Okay.
Sunday morning. The guy does a great job. The classic rock station in Philly had a Beatles show on
Okay.
Sunday morning. It was actually a guy who I worked with in the early part of my career, and he was great. And I'm like, here at the Jersey Shore, why isn't there an all Bruce Springsteen show
Sure.
on Sunday morning? And I would be the guy. I would be the guy to do that.
Sure.
So that's that was my first inkling to make that happen.
Okay.
Uh,
I was going to say, who did you have to talk to someone to get
oh yeah,
permission? Okay. Yeah. So
no,
walk
no,
me.
no
Oh,
permission. Nail the friggin' job.
oh, okay.
Put the
Gotcha.
job
Okay.
together. No, there's no permission.
Okay.
Anyone involved, like at Columbia Records or in Bruce's camp, they were happy to have somebody
Yeah.
sitting there playing 2 hours of Bruce's music.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was no rock station at the shore.
Okay.
But then a new classic rock station signed on, so I had my sights there. I went with my buddy who works up in New York City, big time morning man at CBS FM, my buddy Race Taylor,
Okay.
who is probably like the best disc jockey in America right now.
Oh,
He's
wow.
that good. So he was doing afternoons at PLJ then. And I went with him when he got off the air into the production studio and did a demo tape of what it would sound like. Or in this case, in the early 2000s, a demo CD. There was
Yes.
no more tape involved. And the first station I sent it to was 90.5 The Night, who great station here at the shore. And the guy flat out told me no. He said, I don't think anyone will listen to this. And I'm like, okay, you're the boss.
Yeah.
And then the classic rock station signed on. It was a brand new station down there. Ironically, the woman who was the vice president of programming was my former intern,
Oh,
and
okay.
who I, in fact, gave her first paid radio job after her internship ended. I hired her. And so took it there, and they said no.
Okay.
And that was pretty numbing. A, I had given this woman her break, but
Yeah.
there was, but she was like the VP and the guy under her, the hands-on programmer
Yeah.
guy, he thought no one would listen to it. And
Okay.
that pissed me off. And I figured, you know what, man, it's just not in the cards. That station ended up getting sold a couple years later. And the guy who came in, a friend of mine was working there. He called me up and he said, Phil wants to put on a Bruce Springsteen show. And he said, do you have anything you can send him? Pardon me. And of course, I had the magic CD. I sent it to him, and he said, "You can start Sunday," which was
Nice.
yeah, was really great. And that was in December of 2003.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have tapes from the old shows?
Yes.
Wow. Very
Yes.
cool.
Yep.
How did you introduce it when
I
you
mean,
started?
here was the thing. Like, there was no social media then.
Right.
There were some, like, there was the BTX message board and the Greasy Lake message board. That was really it. So My thing was being a Bruce Springsteen fan, knowing the Bruce Springsteen fan community, as
Hmm.
I did. I, I like there was a really good AOL group,
Okay.
like in the mid '90s and into the early 2000s. So that was my exposure to the fan community
Okay.
before someone had the bad idea to invent social media and ruin the whole fucking world.
Yes.
So my thing was I knew these were people who I became friends with, like Stan Goldstein and Gene Mickle. I first knew them from the AOL Bruce board, and they've been pals of mine, tight friends ever since. So my thing was I didn't tell anybody that I was doing it. Didn't do any big thing on BTX. Hey, I'm gonna be on the radio and playing Bruce Springsteen. So didn't do any of it.
Okay.
And I just started doing the show, and it started showing up on Greasy Lake, which was very cool. Hey, there's this show, there's this thing, there's this guy, and that was really cool.
When, how has the format changed over the years with the show?
Not at all. It's still me playing the music. And I don't take this for granted, and I don't say it lightly,
Yeah.
because in commercial radio in 2025, it's almost unheard of. I get to pick my own music.
Yeah.
I get to do what I want,
Yeah.
and I respect that, and the people who employ me. So I don't do stupid stuff, but to be able to do that, man, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like my grumpy old man face, I think about in a different time, there is a chance that Bruce Springsteen's version of Rhinestone Cowboy could have made a country station. The country stations back when I listened to
Yeah.
country, that would have been a crossover hit, right?
Yeah.
And now then it's just not what that is, right?
No, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It's so corporate now, and I'm one of the great things I love about 107.1 The Boss is it is a locally owned private company. There's four stations in there, country, and the top 40 station, and an oldie station, and the Boss. And so it's like this real, it's a broadcaster's place, and I love that part of it. I do it live. I've done 1,128 shows as of yesterday.
Wow.
And I bet that I've only pre recorded like seven or eight.
Wow.
Only missed one,
Yeah.
hospitalized, but yeah.
How do
And
you
I
pick?
do it live, man. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's amazing. How do you
That's
pick
the
the set
thing.
list? How do you pick what you're going to play? Do you plan that
Well,
out in advance?
some of it, absolutely. Bruce Bass
Hmm.
is a great guide for me. So, like yesterday, I was able to feature Bruce's See Here Now. Big, I played four-song set from his See Here Now show.
Yeah.
I'm doing my research. I'm doing my homework. So
Yeah.
yesterday, September 14th, the original River Tour ended on September 14th, 1981 in
Okay.
Cincinnati. The 2016 River Tour ended on September 14th, 2016 in Foxborough. Just like little cool stuff like that gets me going.
Did you always think you would do interviews as part of it, or
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So
I
what
wanted to.
tell me a
I
little bit
wanted to.
about that.
The first one was Mad Dog Lopez,
All right.
which was really great.
He was my 100th episode.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. In fact, I'm doing something with him on September 30th in Long Branch.
Oh, nice.
This thing at the new, there's a new cultural center with a Bruce exhibit.
Okay.
So he and I are doing something there on September 30th. So Vinny was first. I've had everybody from the East Street Band on except one guy in those years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Vinny is close as I've gotten. I had Mike Appel, which was pretty cool. I
Mike's
loved
great.
visiting with Mike. Yeah.
Mike's great.
Are there some highlights of people you have gotten to talk to and maybe stories you'd want to share, Tom?
Clarence was on 3 times, and he was great. He was always great. God bless him.
Yeah.
I interviewed him 2 months before he died.
Wow.
He was coming to Asbury to premiere his movie, the movie premiere, and I was. This is the kind of stuff you can't make up. I was the host that night of the movie premiere. He
Okay.
did a Q&A after the thing, and I was the Phil Donahue guy with the microphone. And that was like 2 months. He That was April. He died that June.
Yeah.
So I mean that anybody, Patty, my God, Patty and I had the best time. All Stephen, Gary, Nils, Roy, Danny, I had friggin' Danny on. The greatest moment though was courtesy of Max Weinberg.
Yeah.
He was in the studio, and I always like to play a song associated with who's ever gonna
Sure.
gonna be on. A little entree thing. So I had roulette on, and I'm playing roulette. Put on the headphones. He puts on his headphones, and the outro of the song is just that massive drum thing. In perfect time, he starts playing it on the tabletop in just in direct correlation with the outro of the song. And I literally, the song ended, and I didn't say anything. And I was like, whoa, yeah, that was very cool.
When I was lucky enough to be at the symposium weekend before last on Saturday, and then Flynn, who was a guest on your show Sunday
Yeah,
morning, then joined me for a panel talking about
yeah.
Springsteen podcast. But Gary did not seem to be someone who wanted to share a lot of stories. Were you able to get him opened up?
He froze up.
Yeah, okay.
You
Yeah. Can you hear me
froze up
now?
there for.
Yeah, you did for me too.
I think you're still frozen.
Okay, hang on.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was saying that Gary seemed to be someone who was not as wonderful. Max was telling a lot of stories. Gary seemed not. I didn't know how much did he open when you were visiting with him.
Ooh, on the radio
Yeah.
or at the symposium?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you were great at the symposium. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Gary's the person in East Street who I've known the longest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's always been great, and
Yeah.
he's a total music geek, record collector. Him and Southside have a billion albums and 45s together,
Yeah.
and Gary's got custody of them. And Southside will go there to spend time with his records.
That's great.
And,
I
and
love that.
Gary sits there and play records. Yeah.
That's awesome.
No,
Yeah. That was a great story about Max. You got a couple other stories you want to share about someone?
no.
Okay.
Every time somebody from East Street's on,
Yeah.
it's magic.
Taking away from the core band, is there other people that have joined you that were pretty memorable or magical for you?
Yeah, all the folks who play at Light of Day,
Yeah.
like Joe Grishecki's become a good buddy. Willie Nile. The year Greg Kinn played Light of Day, he came on. He
Mm.
was great. I knew he was going to be great.
Yeah.
Authors, if you wrote a Bruce Springsteen book, you've been on my show.
Yeah. Have you had Anne Abel on yet? The High Hopes, the memorial, her memoir?
I'm just starting to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had,
she went to Australia. She's the
yeah, exactly.
Australia
Yes. Yeah.
that went to Australia lady. Yeah, I'm just
Yes,
starting to
exactly.
read it.
Okay, good. I enjoyed talking to her. So I'm going to let you put your fan hat back on. The easy answer is all of them, but there albums or songs that especially speak to you, Tom?
Born to Run will always be my favorite album. That's always in there. Wild Innocent, East Street Shuffle.
Yeah.
Side one got me through the end of high school. Side two got me through the beginning of college. That will
Yeah.
Darkness, The River, gosh, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like later day, obviously The Rising for especially for the impact that it had here at the shore.
Sure.
You know, Bruce was so connected. Bruce was still living in Rumson then,
Hmm.
and he was so hardwired into that community. And we lost so many people on 9/11. Hearing those songs come from what he experienced that day, crazy great. I thought Magic was good. I thought Magic was a really good album. You know, Wrecking
Absolutely.
Ball. Thought Wrecking Ball had some really great stuff on it.
Yeah. Are you playing stuff from the new box set tracks too?
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any highlights so far?
I don't know. Like yesterday, I played September Kisses,
Yeah.
second September Sunday in a row.
Yeah.
Played one from the streets of Philadelphia, One Beautiful Morning.
Yeah.
And then here comes this tracks box set,
Yeah.
which is it's an embarrassment of riches. We've never had
Yeah.
as fans this kind of like explosion of stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking great.
It is very freaking great, Tom. With that many shows, is there a song you're still chasing that you'd love to hear live?
Yes, that one for sure.
Okay.
A full band version of The Promise.
Ah, that would be nice.
Yeah, yeah,
That would be really nice. That's
yeah.
good.
That was I answered that very quickly because it's always
Yeah.
top of mind. It's
Yeah.
always top of mind.
Oh, that's
Yep.
great. Any thoughts on, have you seen the new trailer from the movie? Any thoughts?
Can't wait. Bring it on.
Me too.
Bring it on.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Bring on Electric Nebraska. Bring on that. It's awesome.
The cool thing about the movie is that it was the impetus for this box set.
Yeah,
Without that movie, there is no way we're getting this box set here in a couple weeks.
I agree.
Thank you, movie.
Yes. I was talking, I can't remember who said it, but I guess they still do that. But used to be, especially back in the 80s, when a new movie came out, there would be a novelization, a paperback they'd sell,
Hmm.
and it was mostly to promote the movie. But they did, and I think it's nice we're getting a box set to help promote the movie. And I'm
Amen.
amen, amen. That is awesome. That is
Yep.
so great, Tom. So obviously, you mentioned the one person you haven't gotten to have yet on the show. We'll keep our fingers crossed for you. Is there anyone else that you would love to have on that you haven't had a chance to visit with?
Like from the Springsteen world orbit? No,
Yeah. Okay.
no. Nils has been great.
Yeah.
Max, Jake.
Yeah.
When I got to the boss, the first guest I had in the studio was Jake Clemens, which was great.
Yeah.
He sang this great version of You're a Friend of Mine that morning.
Oh,
Yeah, and it
oh,
was just so touching.
oh, that's nice.
So, yeah.
That's nice. All right. So I'm in a few minutes, I'm going to ask you for some final thoughts. But I just want to tell you, I appreciate you out preaching the gospel, Bruce, and doing that. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
So I end every podcast with what I call the Mary question. And this came from a friend of mine named Jay Armstrong. He was an honors English teacher. He's now retired. He's a writer. But when he was writing and teaching, he would give his students the lyrics to Thunder Road, and they talk about it as if it was a poem. And then he would ask his class, "Do they think Mary gets in the car?" Tom Cunningham, do you think Mary gets in the car at the end of Thunder Road?
So, as I was doing my research for being on here with you, and I thank you for having me, I saw the layout that there's this Mary question. My question to you is, has
Yes.
anyone ever answered no to that question that
About
you've had on here?
about half the people say no.
Wow.
Yeah, they say that either he called her ugly, which is my wife, Andrew, because you're not a beauty. Hey, you're not. He doesn't sell the story enough. She's not ready to work on. It's about 50-50. About half the people say she
Wow,
does, and other people say she doesn't.
that surprises the daylights out of me.
Yes,
Mary's riding shotgun. She's gone.
amen. One of my favorite answers, someone said that she absolutely gets in the car, they drive to California, and Moonlight Motel is him mourning her. And I said, that's a damn fine answer.
There you go.
All right, Tom, if someone wants to reach you and they want to hear talk, tell us how.
Pardon?
If someone wants to reach you, what's the best way? Website on
Don't.
the
No,
don't? Okay,
don't. No,
I
don't.
will clip this out then. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook.
Yes.
There's a Springsteen on Sunday page on Facebook. Lots of great folks float in and out of there. And
Okay.
Instagram, Tom T.C. Cunningham.
All right.
Otherwise, don't.
That's it. Any
I'm
final?
kidding.
No, I know you are, and you're a sweetheart. Any final thoughts before I get you out of here?
No, man, congrats on doing this 1,000 times. That's remarkable.
Thank you.
Very
I
impressive,
appreciate that.
very
Thank you.
remarkable. Keep
Well,
going, man. Keep doing your thing.
I will do it. I haven't hit 22 years yet, but this month is 10. Chasing you, Tom. So
Go
hopefully I'll
get them.
never catch you. All right. That
Go
is
get
Tom
them.
Cunningham. Springsteen on Sunday, 107.1 The Boss. What time on Sundays?
9 to 11 Eastern.
All right. So make it part of your Sunday morning. Tom, thank you so much for spending time with me. I feel very honored and I appreciate you. And I hope to meet you in person one time so we can share a hug. All right.
Absolutely. Pleasure's mine. Thanks
All
for
right.
asking me.
No problem. Listeners, check out the website, go like the Facebook page. Be safe, be kind, and we'll talk to you soon. Goodbye. Thank you, my friend. This was perfect.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate you. Have a great night. Thank
Well
you, buddy.
done.
Uh-huh.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See ya.
Bye. Bye.